Okay, it seems we have started. Catherine, would you like to take it over?
Great. So hi there, my name is Catherine Friedman. I am the Director of Sales at Property Hero. I used to work for Marriott, so I know the hotel business well. This webinar is going to be sharing best practices and highlighting them with hotel maintenance and asset management. A little about the company. We were founded in 2019 and then further developed our product in 2020. Our CEO, Brett Tresco, used to be a road warrior and worked with KPMG for a number of years. So this experience really drove him to develop a product that could help hoteliers with their day-to-day operations. Top maintenance concerns that we've identified from general managers and leadership teams is how can you save money on maintenance expenses? How can you improve your team's communication and processes around addressing these issues? This will obviously increase guest satisfaction for your hotels, and then understanding your past maintenance expenses so that you can then plan for the future. Top asset management concerns that we've identified from general managers and leadership teams is how can you inventory your key hotel assets so that they're recorded in one central place? This way you know how to remove assets that are no longer working, and you can create purchasing plans for other key assets. And then you can have important documentation saved within one system for lost or damaged assets. These concerns are going to be addressed throughout the rest of this webinar. We also have a free training manual around maintenance and asset management that's available to your hotels. You can download this off of our website. And at this time, I'm going to pass it off to Brian Glassman. He is our VP of Product Development.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're not getting rained on too much in New York City. I'm in sunny Florida today, and it's pretty nice. I'd like to speak a little bit about myself for a second. I helped develop and architect all aspects of the Property Hero software. I'm also very blessed, and when it comes to education, I was able to go and perform a BS and MS in mechanical engineering, and I like to consider myself a person that could fix pretty much anything. So with that, let me talk about reducing maintenance expenses. So one of the tips I like to give people is to look at your service providers. Moving service provider contact into a shared location is very important to help empower your maintenance team to reach out and contact those service providers. So if you have an Excel document or Word document, make sure it's in one of those shared drives. The software that we developed actually has a contact directory for service providers. Another thing you should do to help reduce cost is to look at your current service provider list and reevaluate their hourly costs and the ratings, trying to weigh their quality versus cost and trying to see if there's some room for negotiating better rates. Another tip is, improving maintenance for training for your maintenance employees. Now, obviously, a lot of hotels have job shadowing programs already in place. You just would, in this case, put 2 employees on a particular job, and one of those employees may be a little weak in, say, plumbing, and the other one will be very strong, and that would help in that case. One resource that we're providing is the Property Hero Maintenance Manual that's free, and we can provide this over the web, or we can even send you a print version. Now, there is some online training programs that we have identified. The first one is a $70 program per person, takes about 3 hours to complete. And I think the second one is about a day long and is about $500 per person. Another trip that we like to highlight is performance-based incentives. When it comes to looking at employees, we'd like our hoteliers to look at the performance per employee per task. And this is very hard to do with paper-based or work order-based systems. But with the digital work order tracking systems, it's fairly easy to do. You can see in this picture here, you can see the actual labor expenses and how much time that it took a particular person to do. And then we pulled this out of our software. So you have the estimated versus the actual. Another thing that's very helpful is having a live task tracking view. Now, in our software, we made a monitor that can be put in the back office or actually even in the front office and display the current critical tasks and priority tasks that are open at the moment. And this helps, communicate to the whole team the tasks and their priority. One thing that occurs in maintenance is, you repair a refrigerator over and over, and the maintenance guys know this should be removed, but top management doesn't know, GMs don't know. So having assets recorded on an asset per asset basis with service notes particular to that asset will help you go through and remove assets and replace them that need recurring maintenance. So I'm going to move on to the next section, which is improving the team's response to maintenance. One of the important things is to empower your team members to create and execute maintenance. And it starts with creating a work order. So when you're creating a work order, you want to be able to specify, is this an immediate maintenance work order or is this preventive maintenance? And then you also want to give them the ability to set a priority in that maintenance work order. Is it a critical request? Is it a priority request or a normal request? Now, it's important that all team members have access to an app or a smartphone. And the newer asset management systems like ours gives you the ability to have a scannable QR code. So in this case, we have a Property Hero tag with a QR code on there, and employees can go ahead and scan it and view item details, view prior service notes, and even enter maintenance requests and enter maintenance details on that particular asset right from the asset. Now, improving maintenance task assignments is very important. I'm going to be pitching against paper-based work orders. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's a little difficult to understand the actual productivity of people if you have paper-based work orders. If you have a digital-based work order system, you're able to look at the closing times and the productivity of each employee. Now, the good thing about the digital work order systems is they can email you and SMS you the task at the beginning of the day. And if a task is assigned that same day, it can send you the task assignment pretty much the second it was created. Now, there should be simplified to-do tasks for all maintenance employees. You don't want them to come into the office and retrieve a work order on an hour-by-hour basis. You want them to be out there in the hotel working on maintenance issues, and having a digital maintenance work order system is very important to that. And in these pictures, you could see this person has two right hands, and in the first right hand, he has a priority list of tasks that he has to work on, and the second right hand, it seems like he is entering a maintenance request for replacing a water filter in a water dispenser. Another important tip is having a clear process by which you can hire and have the records for your maintenance personnel. Now, in the manual, in section 21.3 of the manual, we actually have a detailed interview process, which we specify all the different areas of maintenance. And this is great because you can print this out and do your interview. And then after your interview, you can store it in your HR notes so you can know what areas a particular employee is good at and which areas they need work in or to improve in, so that they can, perform job shadowing and maybe take some online training. Another important tip is having a pre-approved service providers list that the maintenance employees can forward major maintenance tasks to. So if the sprinklers are out, the maintenance employee may not be able to do it himself, may have to request maintenance from a sprinkler company. And here in a system like ours, you can actually go through and with a single click request a maintenance to the sprinkler employee vendor, in which case they'll receive a text as shown in the picture to the right. Now, the next section is on improving preventive maintenance practices. You have typically written maintenance calendars, and some of the more advanced hotels may have it in Microsoft or Google. So, for example, a maintenance calendar should have important things like renewing permits, and in a digital maintenance system, the permit reminders can be set, and the permits can actually be stored in the system and shared for with the front desk. So if an inspector comes in, you can have it in hand. Now, typical digital Microsoft and Google calendars are on your desktop, so you have to constantly be referring to your smartphone or your desktop. And if the director of maintenance is out for the day, then maybe critical preventative maintenance tasks won't be, divvied out for that particular day. So that is one of the downsides of a Microsoft or Google based maintenance calendar. And please ignore my spa night on Wednesdays. Let's see here. So in a digital maintenance calendar, you'll have tasks. You'll be able to look at those tasks and how far out those tasks are, who's assigned. And that's extremely important. And when it comes time to, generate that work order, it'll be generated on the day that it is and emailed and assigned to the respective team members. Now I'd like to talk about forecasting preventive maintenance costs. Now, if you have a calendar-based system, forecasting manual costs may be very difficult. I know that a lot of hotels have quarterly management meetings. Those sound like a lot of fun and are very low stress from what I could hear from different conversations. But if you're maintenance director, they might actually place a big burden on you in estimating how much the quarterly maintenance expenses or the forecasted quarterly maintenance expenses will be. To do this, you'd have to manually go through and estimate all the maintenance expenses and add those up. Now, if you're using a digital maintenance system, it's going to make it a lot easier. So a digital maintenance system will actually go through and look at all the pending work orders and projected forward and total out the cost and materials between a particular date range. This makes forecasting for maintenance expenses much more accurate and extremely easy. Now I'd like to talk about inventorying key assets and generating reports. So you want to be able to have QR codes on your particular assets. And now what this is going to do is when you perform your initial inventory, you're going to capture the model, the serial number, the purchase cost. You're going to look at the manufacturer date. That's usually the installation date. And this helps you calculate end of life for a particular asset. A lot of newer assets, especially the big air conditioners and elevators, may have a warranty attached to that with a particular period. And knowing that information is very valuable. And then you also want to know what vendor or retailer provided it to you. So in case there's a number of assets that are faulty, you can go back and circle back with that retailer and come to a solution. Some of the newer digital asset management softwares also allow you to associate manuals. So you can have a PDF version of the manual right there on your phone when you're working on that particular asset. And it allows you to save receipts, contracts, any estimates associated with that particular asset. So if elevator breaks down and they quote, you want to be able to attach that quote to the particular elevator so you can look at it in the future. Another good thing of having a detailed inventory is having a view of the inventory by category, brand, and even by room. So here we can see this was a Best Western in Houston. It has 66 wall AC units. So roughly that was the purchase cost. So in a split second, you can look at it and estimate 66 times the replacement cost of 1,000. Roughly really quickly what a replacement value would be. You can look at it by brand and you can look at it by particular room. This type of information is extremely valuable when it comes to replacing items. Another important aspect of having a detailed inventory is being able to create insurance and, insurance policy reports or police reports, and also to check the inventory. Now, our system in particular prints out the images of the asset associated with that, along with the service notes. So when you have this inventory report generated, you can go through and see what are problem assets. And this is great for maintenance guys who do like to work on paper. Now, the next section is about on updating key assets. Here we want to replace key assets at the end of their life cycle. So one of the features we're working on at Property Hero is having an end-of-life asset replacement alerts. So if a whole category of refrigerators come up in a couple hotels, you want to be able to see across those hotels that these refrigerators are coming up, and then maybe do some negotiated bulk purchase to get the price down. So instead of replacing for one hotel, you're replacing to several hotels all at the same time. Interestingly, TVs, microwaves, old refrigerators, these still have value. And instead of paying for disposal, you can actually have people pay you for disposal. So having the ability to, print out a report and put it out there would also allow you to make some money off of your disposal. We're looking into such a service. So that's actually the end of the presentation. What I'd like to do is have Catherine and I field any questions you may have. Do we have to take the participants off mute?
I think they're off mute. Alan, are they off mute?
Yes, they're off. They need to unmute themselves. They are allowed to talk now.
Okay.
I guess your presentation was very self-explanatory, Brian. That's all I can say. It was an impressive. It's impressive, the software. I definitely sat through it, and I think it addresses potential issues with hotels maintenance department. So I guess it's probably because we don't have. I'll tell you what, if we get questions, why don't we forward them to you, since maybe people are holding back right now. So.
Yeah, no problem at all. If anyone wants to speak up, though, please go ahead.
Yeah, we'll keep it open for a couple of minutes and see.
Great.
So one of the things that we observed. What? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you have Property Hero on any of the hotels in New York City right now?
Not in New York City. We have them in the hotels in Houston.
Okay. What size hotels, or does that really not matter? So.
50 to 100 room hotels.
Okay, but it caters to larger hotels as well, right?
Yes, we covered the gamut. One important thing that I wanted to mention is when you're actually doing the inventory process, you're actually testing the equipment as you're inventorying it. So the refrigerators, you're seeing if they're cold, the microwaves, you're seeing if they're working. And so the inventory process itself also identifies a lot of equipment that needs maintenance.
Okay. Right. I mean, that's definitely useful because you got real eyes looking at it.
Yeah, and we've learned through, speaking with different hoteliers that there are a lot of different softwares in this space, but what we do that's unique to Property Hero is really honing in on the inventory of all of these key assets, whether it's in a guest room, if it's in your meeting space, even if it's in your hotel gyms, and really seeing that top line level view per asset. It really helps you understand the labor associated with these different assets with the kinds of views we have.
Yeah, makes sense. certainly inventory loss is not something hotels want to deal with. So,
Exactly. And we, are obviously, we built our product during 2020, like I mentioned. And so we really want to support hotels that are perhaps still feeling like they're in recovery mode from the pandemic. And I think we could really provide value there, whether it's from training, getting everything set up. Our setup process is fantastic. I know some hoteliers can feel a little intimidated or scared, or like, I have 100 things to do. Wrapping my head around new technology feels like a lot of work, but we can do all of the setup and we can proactively set all of the tasks and your to-do list. That way you're ready to go.
that's great. Excellent. Nikki, do you have any questions, or shall we say that we'll just collate them as Alan gets them subsequently and pass them on?
Yes, I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you both for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for putting this together for us, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you both.
Our
I
pleasure.
look forward to staying in touch and appreciate your webinar. Rather. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.